Hello and welcome to KLM Institute,
where we bring you the most comprehensive and detailed updates. Today, we're diving into a significant development, the Israel-Hamas ceasefire that has captivated the world, marking a critical moment in a conflict that has lasted for 15 long months. This ceasefire, which has brought a temporary halt to the violence, is not just a political maneuver, it's a deeply human story involving hostages, prisoners, and the suffering of millions. On Sunday, the world witnessed a crucial step towards peace as 3 Israeli women hostages were freed by Hamas. These women were handed over to the International Committee of the Red Cross (ICRC), who facilitated their safe return to Israel. This was the first significant hostage exchange after the conflict escalated in October 2023. The hostages, who had been held captive for more than a year, are now reunited with their families, bringing immense relief to their loved ones and the nation. One of these freed hostages, Damari, shared her emotional reaction to her release, stating, "I'm the happiest in the world," after spending 471 days in captivity. She had even lost 2 fingers in the brutal attacks of October 7, but now, she is finally free. In return for these 3 Israeli hostages, Israel released 90 Palestinian prisoners from its Ofer prison in the West Bank. This exchange marks a pivotal moment, as it is the first time that such a swap has taken place in the course of this devastating war. The prisoners released were mostly women and teenage boys, many of whom had been detained by Israel without trial or conviction. This move is part of a broader agreement in which Israel is expected to release a significant number of Palestinian prisoners in exchange for the release of Israeli captives. However, this ceasefire didn't come without its challenges. The process was delayed by 3 hours as Israel demanded the names of the hostages to be released by Hamas before agreeing to the truce. The delay was blamed on technical field reasons by Hamas, but eventually, both sides agreed, and the ceasefire officially began at 11:15 a.m. local time. This moment of relative calm is a result of months of indirect negotiations, with the United States, Qatar, and Egypt playing key roles in mediating between the 2 sides. While the ceasefire is holding for now, there have been isolated incidents. In Gaza's southern city of Rafah, medics reported that 8 people were hit by Israeli fire, though details on their condition were scarce. This highlights the fragile nature of the truce, and both sides are closely monitoring the situation. One of the most pressing issues now is the rebuilding of Gaza, which has suffered unimaginable destruction. The war has left the Gaza Strip in ruins, with over 50 million tons of rubble left to clear. A United Nations report estimates that clearing this debris could take over 21 years and cost as much as $1.2 billion. The rebuilding process is going to be slow and arduous, and the damage to Gaza's infrastructure is staggering. Over 200 government buildings, 136 schools, and hundreds of mosques and hospitals have been destroyed. The people of Gaza are left without basic necessities, including food and clean water. The UN has warned that less than a quarter of Gaza's pre-war water supplies are available, and the damage to roads and buildings is extensive. This ceasefire, however, brings some hope. It marks the beginning of a much-needed break from the ongoing violence. There are reports of Palestinians starting to search for survivors under the rubble, though the devastation is beyond belief. Thousands of people are still believed to be buried, and it's estimated that up to 10,000 people could be trapped in the ruins of Gaza. The humanitarian crisis in Gaza is not just limited to the loss of life but extends to the collapse of the economy and essential services. Over half of Gaza's agricultural land has been degraded due to the constant bombardment, leading to food shortages. The destruction of livestock has left the population without access to meat and dairy, and the agricultural losses are expected to have long-term consequences on food security. On the international stage, the United States has played a significant role in pushing for this ceasefire. President Joe Biden expressed his relief over the release of the hostages and emphasized the importance of continuing the truce. He also confirmed that more hostages would be released in the coming days, with 4 Israeli women set to be freed this week.
The ceasefire has gone into effect in Gaza, and today we're seeing hostages being released. 3 Israeli women held against their will in the dark tunnels for 470 days. 4 more women will be released in 7 days, 3 additional hostages every 7 days thereafter, including at least 2 American citizens in this first phase. Hundreds of trucks are entering Gaza as I speak. They're carrying assistance for civilians who suffered enormously from the war that Hamas started on October 7, 2023, nearly 15 months ago. Today alone, we anticipate several hundred trucks will enter the Gaza Strip probably as I'm speaking. And after so much pain, destruction, loss of life, today the guns in Gaza have gone silent.
The U.S. administration has worked tirelessly behind the scenes to broker this deal, with the help of Qatar and Egypt, in an attempt to bring an end to the violence. Now, there's another key player in the story, former U.S. President Donald Trump. It's been reported that Trump played a pivotal role in pushing Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu towards agreeing to the ceasefire. According to sources, Trump made it clear to Netanyahu that the United States had been providing substantial military and financial aid to Israel and that it was time to listen to the international calls for peace. Trump's pressure, combined with the efforts of the U.S. State Department, led to the eventual agreement on the ceasefire, signaling a major shift in the dynamics of the conflict. This development is a critical moment in a conflict that has claimed tens of thousands of lives.
How do you see the future in governance for Gaza?
Well, you certainly can't have the people that were there. Most of them are dead, by the way, right? Most of them are dead. But they didn't exactly run it well. Run viciously and badly. So you can't have that.
How confident are you, Mr. President, that you can keep the ceasefire in Gaza and conclude the 3 phases of the deal?
I'm not confident. That's not our war, it's their war, but I'm not confident. But I think they're very weakened on the other side. Gaza, boy, I looked at a picture of Gaza. Gaza is like a massive demolition site.
Do you plan to help in rebuilding Gaza?
I might. You know, Gaza is interesting. It's a phenomenal location. On the sea, best weather. You know, everything's good. It's like some beautiful things could be done with it, but it's very interesting. But some fantastic things could be done with Gaza.
Perhaps most beautiful of all, this week we achieved an epic ceasefire agreement as a first step toward lasting peace in the Middle East. And this agreement could only have happened as a result of our historic victory in November. That was some victory. Was that great? I don't even know which was greater, 2016 or this one. I think this one. The border security measures I will outline in my inaugural address tomorrow will be the most aggressive, sweeping effort to restore our borders the world has ever seen. I will end the war in Ukraine, I will stop the chaos in the Middle East, and I will prevent World War III from happening, and you have no idea how close we are.
As of now, over 47,000 Palestinians have been killed, while over 1,200 Israelis lost their lives during the initial Hamas attack on October 7, 2023. The numbers are staggering, and the human toll of this war is impossible to ignore. The ceasefire has given hope to millions of people, but it remains to be seen whether this fragile peace can hold. The truce itself is expected to last for a period of 6 weeks, during which further hostage releases will take place, and some Israeli troops will pull back from Gaza. The first phase of the ceasefire has seen the release of 33 hostages, including women, children, and elderly captives. In exchange, Israel has released nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners. However, much more remains to be done. The road to lasting peace is long and uncertain, but for now, the ceasefire offers a glimmer of hope in an otherwise devastating conflict. As we watch this situation unfold, one thing is certain: the people of Gaza, Israel, and the entire Middle East region are yearning for peace, and the world is watching closely. This ceasefire, though fragile, could be the first step toward a more stable and secure future for everyone involved.